Hi there, Voyagers! I am Chilled Voyager, also known as Ted, and in this particular instance, also known as Kinich, because you find me here in Second Life. And Second Life has been around since about 2003. It's a very, very old game. And I say game, there's much contention over that word as to whether it is or not. I don't personally look at it as a game. It's something I've been playing around with for many, many years myself, since at least 2006, 2007. And yes, graphically, it's not fantastic. And the game engine is very old. But it has one thing that no other game has. And that's a history. It's a history dating back to 2003. It's incredible. There is nothing that's been around this long with this number of people. And everything in this world was built by the residents of this world, built by people like myself. That, I think, is something people fail to understand. So what I'm going to show you today is just a very, very small part of it. I'm on the very northern tip of just one continent, which is known as Sansara. There are quite a few continents within this world, and they are huge. If you don't believe me, come and check it out for yourself. Sign up. And if you want to check me out, I am Kinich Thompson. Come and find me if you struggle to delve into this world, because it is quite a steep learning curve. There's a lot to learn here. You might think, oh, it's years old. Oh, I've been gaming for years. I'm all right, you know. I'm telling you now, it's not quite as simple as you think. There's a lot to learn here, and there's a lot of etiquette to learn as well. There are some beautiful continents here. One of the things about this particular continent is that it has quite a lot of rivers and some quite high mountains, which you won't find on many of the other continents. It's not. Well, actually, I do have a home on this continent. I have a home in the very, very north of this continent, not far from where I am now. In fact, if I turn my camera around one moment, I will show you my friend's house that's just opposite here. Belongs to Celador and Alicia, two very good friends of mine. One of the first people I've met in Second Life when I first arrived here. In fact, if you look at the JavaScript pod S5 there to the Northern Sims, you will see their house right there on the board. What we're going to do though is we're going to take a ferry or a water taxi, and we're going to go down the East River, and we're going to look at some of the scenery. What you're looking at here is the map of Sansara. It's the old continent. You can see in the bottom left there, you've got the snowlands. It's that white area. You can also, I don't know if you can see, but there's boats and things on that map, the little models. They are actually moving. They are pods run by, they are part of the JavaScript pods. We are at a JavaScript pod station. Further to the north, there is another continent. That is Sansara, which is also somewhere I have a home. That is the home of, well, a lot of boating because it's an atoll, but also a lot of railways, railroads as you would call them in America. So we'll check that out at some later point. Those vehicles that you can see there, they're all live. They're all appearing where they are on the map. These are just two of very, very many continents, and they are huge. It will take us probably about 40 minutes on this journey, which goes perhaps a quarter of the way across this continent, if that, if I'm honest. So here I am on the Green Ferry, heading down to the East River and down to the southeast of the continent of Sansara, which is, we're on Sansara now. It's the very north of Sansara we're at. And the ferry to the left, the red one, heads north, going up towards Syria which is an amazing continent to explore. Very different from this one. There, as you see, crossing over from right to left, there is a pod. These ferries, these are all Java scripted, and whether or not you're in Second Life already, or if you're thinking of joining, I would check out the JavaScript pods. There's a group you can join, and these pods go everywhere. The vast majority of people in Second Life don't go anywhere. They just log in 2 or 3 times a week and go to the same clubs each week where they just listen to the same DJs. They don't realise there's this entire world at their fingertips. They have no idea. Because you can teleport. And I don't think originally the idea to travel via boat or rail or car or truck or aeroplane was really thought of when this world was designed. So these were things were added on later by the users, facilitated by the Lindens, which are, the people that run it. But yeah, it's a very interesting world. There's a lot to see, and it's worth checking it out in ways such as this. Here we are on the JavaScript ferry, going to the East River. Now, if you are someone who frequents Second Life, here's a tip for you. I am in Mouse Look. If you're travelling on any kind of vehicle, you will find Mouse Look is a lot smoother. If you're not from Second Life, you have to understand Second Life is not optimised the way that most games are. It doesn't work in the way that most games do. If you saw what just happened there, where the vehicle jerked forward and then came back, that's because we were crossing a sim boundary. It's where you're crossing from one simulation to the next. Basically what happens there is each sim is a square and is represented on a core. We've just done the same again. That's when the sound stopped there. It doesn't necessarily have a server to itself, but it has a part of a server. It's on. You can cross sometimes from one core to another, and that's when it gets tricky, and that's when you have issues like the sound stop there, and you get jerkiness. So there are swings and roundabouts with most things, but with Second Life, the issue is that we get to have this fabulous world that's built by its inhabitants. Everything you see here and everything you are going to see on this journey was built by the people that frequent this world. And it is absolutely massive. I cannot get across to you. You could spend every day travelling like this on a ferry, on a train, in a car. You would never see the whole of this world. If you did that every day for the rest of your life, you wouldn't see all of it. And even if you could, by the time you did, it would all have changed, because it's all made by the people that live here. And of course they move and they change, they build new things. That is what I love about Second Life. I don't have any control over this vehicle because it's a ferry. There's nobody sat there, it's automatic. It has a route that it follows, so I can't slow it down or speed it up, much as I'd like to be able to at certain points. But everything you see here, all those houses up there, all of it is built by people. Now you will see here those trees haven't loaded properly, and nor have some of the textures. And if you're not from Second Life, that might seem a bit shoddy to you, but if you understand how all of this works, then again, these things haven't loaded properly either. If we stay near them long enough, they will do. They'll pop into view. That's just how it is in Second Life, and I cannot explain this better than to just say that is server side. That's not my side. I am running a fairly fast computer, and it's it runs most modern games quite nicely. Second Life is very, very intensive graphically, I have to say, but you have to put up with that to be able to explore all these things that are built by all the people that live here. That's just how it is. Now we are heading down the East River, where I will try to capture as much as I can of what is here. On the way, much of it won't be visible. Now if you can see that there, that grey thing that's swirling around, that is because, again, what is there, what's visible shouldn't be, and what should be isn't. So if you stood there on the beach long enough, you would see it as it should be. It's things flying around. They're probably birds. Yeah, there we go. They're seagulls. They're seagulls. We were seeing the, how would you put it, the objects that the seagulls were present on, I suppose, swirling around, and not the seagulls themselves. But if you stayed there long enough, things were. Certain things are optimized very nicely in terms of textures. Some things aren't, and so you will see some things res, as we say, load very nicely. Other things don't. Now, if you look at this tree, there's a tree house there with a windmill. The tree hasn't really properly loaded. We'll sit and see if it does. Just give it a moment or two. The camera focuses on it, and hopefully it will do. It may not. And actually that building to the left there hasn't either. It's very blurry. Okay, we've got bits of tree coming in now. Yeah, see, that's finally popped in. It would be nice if it had done that a bit earlier, but the building behind, textures are looking pretty good. So, I mean, that just is how Second Life is. You have to... Very old technology, but it's amazing what people have built. And it wasn't designed for travelling around. It was designed for people to teleport into places, visit them, wait for things to download, wait for the textures to download, and then have a good time in that one place. There are some beautiful places to visit. I recommend joining Second Life and visiting them. And as I said, if you have issues, come and check me out. I am Kinich Thompson. Find me if you have issues. Everything said is built by the people that are here. All of this isn't, you know, this isn't just a place that people moved into. All of these things were built by the people that frequent Second Life over many, many years, and it changes constantly. It's quite fascinating. Now, I've actually never taken this route before, so all of this is quite interesting to me. And as I say, I've been in Second Life since, I don't know, 2005, 6. I think 2006, I think. So I've been here for quite a long time, and I haven't seen quite a lot of it. I am a person that dearly loves to travel in Second Life. I visit these places. I go all around the place by railway, by boat. I like to sail. I take my sailing boat. It's quite hard to sail and make a video at the same time, though. So that's why I've picked a ferry for this particular video. I mean, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Okay, there's things in the sky. Physics is old in Second Life. There is no gravity, really. So you can just put things in the sky if you want to, whether or not they might look ugly. That's one of the issues I have with people in Second Life, is putting things too low so that you can see them. And I don't really have my camera set on a very long distance, just simply to try and make this a nice smooth video. You can see there that things are loading in the distance there, so that's the distance my camera's set to. On a normal day, I'd have it set to quite a longer distance usually, but for here, trying to capture a video and trying to keep it smooth, I didn't want things to be loading when you couldn't see them, if that makes sense. So things will pop in. The idea with doing that is that hopefully textures will load quicker on local objects, more local objects, hopefully. Let's see where we end up. See how we go. So it's nice not to have to drive. Now, I don't know if you saw those things pop in front of us there. I'm assuming we can get through here somewhere. Are we going this way? I don't know. I could film this in a way that, you know, hid all of the downsides of Second Life, but I'm not going to do that. I really want you to see this as it is, and if this is something that you think you would enjoy, come and join us in Second Life. It is, I mean, as I said, it's very old, but it's also very new at the same time. There's still new things being built every day, new ideas, new scripting. This boat was built by a resident, by somebody who lives in Second Life, scripted by somebody who lives in Second Life. This isn't something that I own. It's not something that's run by the company that runs Second Life, Linden Labs. This was built by a person that thought, why don't we have ferries? They built it, they scripted it, and they're there to ride. Along with a lot of the trains, you can also run your own. There's no reason why you can't, you know, load your own boat and go and take a trip on your own boat. You can certainly do that. There's some sailing boats here, look. You can have your own boats and you can take them out on the water. That takes quite a bit of skill, I have to say. There are some added skills that you have to have in Second Life in the sailing community, but there's a big sailing community in Second Life, and there's a couple of continents that are very good for sailing because there's a lot of water there. Interestingly, this really isn't one of them. Sansara is more rivers than oceans, but there are continents that are largely ocean based, and they are worth checking out. This is, yes, as I say, largely river based. There's a lot of roads here too. I don't know, I think there might be a narrow gauge railway / railroad on Sansara, but there aren't many. I think there might be one or two. They're not really for transport, they're more for tourists. Having said that, yeah, it is mostly road and river transport here, but you can always fly as well, and there are some very interesting things to bear in mind about flying. Look at that, we have some dinosaurs in fossil or bone shape. Now I think we're going to come into a port here, I don't know. I've not done this journey before. We'll see where we end up. Now, some of these textures haven't loaded, but that's fine. Some of them have. Again, if you're going to stay anywhere, if you're going to go clubbing somewhere, if you're going to go exploring somewhere, and you take your time walking around, textures will load, but it's not built for someone travelling at this kind of speed. And yeah, this might seem very slow, but they just didn't think people would want to travel. If you can teleport, why would anyone want to travel? Well, it turns out people do, and so this all had to be added later, and it's not perfect, but the fact you can do it at all is good. Okay, we have a block here on the left. You can see that's not, let's just say, I'm going to use the word loaded, but we say resed in Second Life is a term that's used. So if you join Second Life, people talk about things not resing, they mean things haven't loaded. They could mean objects, or they could mean the textures on those objects. And because everything is built by the people that live here, it's dependent upon them to build things in a way that don't cause lag, with textures that aren't like ridiculously high definition, because they don't need to be. But I mean, look at that, that's stunning. That was someone's idea and they built it. These little islands here. And I love just travelling around Second Life and seeing these things. Let's have a look over this side. See what we've got. We've got something in the sky there. I don't know what that is. You're probably not going to see what it is because I think they're travelling away from it, so it's not going to load properly or res. But we have these things down here. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you could go and investigate that if you were here. Now it's just disappeared. It's gone away from our camera distance. But look at this. I mean, look at all of this. We're passing through here. We are actually skipping across the land slightly there. And that's an issue with having an automated boat. In that things move, people move, they changed how they use their land. So they might have a beach one day, and then they might have a harbour. Then somebody else might move in and build a harbour, and that changes overnight. If you have this kind of vehicle scripted, sometimes what was water might become land at later points. It takes someone to turn around and report this kind of thing and say, "Oh, that's no longer water. You might want to change the route," kind of thing. But I mean, I absolutely love it. I love Second Life. Here we go, crossing another sim. There's another example of one of my annoyances in Second Life is when people have sounds on their land for no apparent reason. I think that's supposedly supposed to be a motorbike. I do not understand why people do that, but that's fine. Each to their own. Let's look at this building, see if that res is in. It's not going to. So yes, this video is for both for people who haven't been in Second Life ever, have been but haven't for 15 years or whatever, and those that are regularly in Second Life but don't travel. I'm telling you now, travel around. Get on a ferry like this, travel around. You will be amazed by what you see and the people you meet. Now, actually, I have everything turned off in terms of my map and my mini map and things like that, so I'm not going to meet people. Your mini map shows where people are local to you and you can go and have a conversation with them, but we're not going to do that because that's not what this video is about today. So we may see other people, we may not, but that's not what we're here for today. We're here to just take this journey and have a look and see what things we can see. Look at that. I mean, that's someone's like crazy idea there. Look at that. That's obviously just an insane roller coaster on the top of a building. But you can do anything like that in Second Life. It's amazing. And there's been lots of imitations of Second Life over the years, and nothing has quite done it. So here we have all these trees and these islands and bridges, and we have the lighthouse behind there. I do quite like that. Look at that building there. That's lovely. And then this bridge we're going to go under. A very colourful building coming up that looks almost like it should be in a fairground, I suppose. Next to the other side from the lighthouse. So we'll keep, yeah. There's some amazing things. There are fairgrounds in Second Life where you can ride the fairground rides. Definitely worth checking out. And as I said earlier on, a lot of people in Second Life tend to just go to the same old clubs, and I probably didn't explain that very well, and the fact that there's a big scene for music in Second Life, for people singing, playing musical instruments, and DJing. A lot of DJs in Second Life playing different things. Most of them tend to play sort of radio style stuff, where they'll talk and they'll play music. Not so much club, but there are some club DJs in Second Life as well, if that's your bag. But a lot of people just go to their favourite club or their favourite bar or their favourite village in Second Life, and they just hang out there, and that's all they do. They'll do that 3 nights a week, and they don't see any of this because they're not moving around and they're not seeing all these things. And even a lot of the people that sail just sail to sail, and they don't really visit anywhere. And it just amazes me because there is so much to see in Second Life, so much to see that you could spend your entire time just doing what I'm doing now. Your entire time, and you would never, as I said earlier, you would never ever see all of it. There is just too much to see. There just is. It's huge. It's ridiculous. I can't explain it any other way. It is just ridiculous. The amount of things to see. And if I was to take this route in a month's time, I can guarantee there'll be quite a few things that would look different because people have moved, or even if people haven't moved, they've changed their mind, they've built new things, and you know, destroyed whatever was they'd built before. And that's both the beauty and the haunting reality of Second Life, as it does make you stop and realise that everything is temporary. And I think that's a very goodist. It's a very. I think I was thinking of the word Buddhist. It's very much like the Buddhist mantra in terms of everything is temporary, nothing is forever. And I think it's a good lesson to learn because real life is the same. It's just that Second Life moves at a faster pace. So all of this is here today, but it may well be gone tomorrow. And that's part of the beauty of it. That ding dong you heard is somebody speaking to me, but I don't have my chat switched on, so that's fine. We can ignore that. That's quite stunning. That is quite stunning. I've not seen that before. As I say, I've not taken this route before, but I probably have been this direction before by road or I've been over most of Second Life. I say most of it. Certainly not all of it by any means. There's a lot I haven't seen. Still a lot to see, and I probably won't ever see all of it, but look at this, look at that. Even the floating bits there in the sky, I have to say that's quite well done. Most things that float in the sky, most skyboxes, annoy me. You need to have that at about, you know, at least 3,000 feet up so you can't see it. But that's okay. That kind of goes with the lander. It's alright. I'm okay with that. Yeah, it doesn't go great with the laws of physics, but that's okay. Look at this. Look at this. That's quite stunning. I don't know how many of the we're going somewhere. That's what we're doing. Quite beautiful. So here we are. I'm not sure where people got the idea from that lighthouses always sweep across the sky. Most of the time they don't, unless it's foggy or misty. They tend to just blink, but that's, you know, that's fine. I don't know what that is in the sky there. I know what quite a lot of these things are in the sky there. That's fine. But look at all these buildings. And as I say, these are all built by residents, people that live here. They built their own things. They have their own land. You can buy land or you can rent it in Second Life. And then we have this bridge going across here. Let's have a look at that. That's quite stunning. Across from one hillside to the other. And a boat. Proper sailing boat. I sail in Second Life and I dearly love doing it. It's challenging. Possibly just as challenging as it is in the real world, but for different reasons. Follows the same rule sets, but have added issues with crossing sim boundaries. So you're crossing from one server to another, or from one part of a server to another, and of course, yeah, that causes problems. So you have to try and do that in a way that flows nicely. I don't know what obviously that boat looks quite impressive. If the sound stops again, it's because we're crossing a sim boundary. We're crossing from one server to another, or at least one part of a server to another. So I hope you're enjoying this. We're nearly at the end of our journey now. For today. A lot of textures that haven't popped in there, but that's fine. As I say, we're moving quite quickly for Second Life. It's not really built for this, so it's great that we can do this at all. To be honest, it just wasn't really designed with this in mind. It's quite an interesting build there. And I must remind you once again, these were all built by residents, people that live here. None of this is built by Second Life itself. Everything you see here, including the boat that I am on, all the boats that we're passing, all of the buildings, the trees, everything was put here by the people that live here, that frequent this incredibly strange, beautiful, quite remarkable world. And each continent is different styles of landscapes. This one is very obviously, if you look at this here that we're just passing on the left there, it's quite mountainous. You don't have that in Heteroceria, which is a bit flatter. It's still hilly, but it's nothing. You won't get pointed hills like that in Heteroceria. And then if you go further north, you've got other continents that are very, very flat, but there's a lot of ocean. You've got a lot of beaches, and a lot of places to take quite large boats. Even ships. I have a couple of ships that you can just, manage to get through various areas. You wouldn't want to take something that size through here. It wouldn't fit. But I do love this, and I love what people have done with it. Look at these builds. As I said, even the trees, everything. This is all built by the users. Everything just comes from someone's imagination. And I don't think people understand that when they hear someone talking about Second Life. Think, is that still going? That's years old. It's like, well, there's a reason. It's because it has a history, a very deep history and long history behind it in terms of video games. And why would you want to leave that? This history, beautiful history, all these people that built these amazing things. Yeah, that's why it's still here. That's why it's still going. It's always been about that. What you can do with your little part of this world. And it never ceases to amaze me to see what people do with it, to be honest. It's quite incredible. Not sure what that is. That's a yacht. It's a very large yacht. It's actually just built on a piece of land, but it looks yacht-ish. I mean, it does actually. It does look like a yacht from certain angles, but probably more so from the front. I think that's probably a club for dancing and DJing and stuff like that. But we've got some helicopters here, which are inexplicably floating above the water without rotation. But you know, that's fine. Each to their own. What else have we got? Some buoys or buoys, as they call them in America. Never understood that. I think they laugh at us UKers for saying buoy, and we laugh at them for saying buoy. And that's fine, as long as you're consistent. I mean, the only issue I have with that is you don't say things are buoyant, you say they're buoyant. So I don't understand why they say buoy, but that's just me. That's just, you know. It's all fine. That's a interesting looking boat there. Or should I say buoyt? I am just kidding. But it is. That's quite fascinating, and someone's put a lot of effort into that. And I'm assuming that is seaworthy and not just a build. It looks like it probably does sail. Fantastic. So that's what a real lighthouse does. It just flashes. The lens may turn around in the light may turn around inside the lens, but you don't see that. You tend to see it flashing unless it's very foggy, and then you will see that beam. But most of the lighthouses I see in Second Life just have this beam that searches across the sky at nothing because there's no fog. I do find that very odd. But I mean, I think that just kind of shows you that that's what they had in their imagination as a lighthouse, was with having that beam searching across the sky, and that's how they saw it, having the fog and so on and so forth. And I suspect if you went to the land, maybe there might be fog there that you don't see from not going on the land. But look at this. That's quite stunning, isn't it? That's quite impressive. Somebody built all of that. I know I keep saying this and trying to remind you that everything here is built by the people that live here, but that's quite special. More lighthouses. People love their lighthouses. Oh yes. So where are we heading now? We're going to go left here, I think? Or are we going to follow the right-hand coast? Don't know. Yeah, we are going left. Okay, so we're going to follow this. So we might as well have a look at these. I do apologise if my camera work isn't great. It's not helped by Second Life, I have to say, but I am doing my best here with the camera. Isn't particularly smooth again, but it's okay. I don't know what my frame rate is. It's actually probably around about 30 or 40 frames per second. It doesn't look like it, I know. That's just how Second Life is. It's very jerky. It probably appears to be much, much less than it is. Although as you travel, it does drop down. So it may even be around about 15 frames per second, something like that. But it just always seems much more jerky and much slower. Just the way Second Life is and the way that the graphics works. And so you just have to get used to it. And you have to kind of put that across from the fact that all of this is built by the people that live here. And I think you have to just accept the fact that things don't work very well. It's very slow, it's very jerky, it takes a while for things to appear. Sometimes they don't appear at all. Sometimes you can't see each other when you're trying to talk to somebody else. It just happens. Sometimes bits of your body go missing. But look at all of these things. None of this was built by the people that run Second Life. This was built by the people that live here. That's what it's all about. And that's why people put up with it. It's quite incredible. This is quite stunning. And even including that annoying bell, that's put here by a user, or what we call a resident, somebody who lives here, put that in as a part of their land so that as you go by you hear it. I do like that crane actually, that's quite amazing. If I focus on it for too long it will disappear, so I'll move away as it goes out of my camera distance. I think my camera distance is set to about 240 metres, something like that. I normally have it set to about 344, but as I'm filming I've had to turn that down, otherwise textures would load just far too slowly, because textures would be loading off camera and that just wouldn't make any sense in terms of filming, so that's why I've done that. There are a lot of other things you can do to make things work better in Second Life and run faster. I mean, especially if you're running on a slower machine, it is quite possible to use Second Life on a laptop, just using, you know, without a proper graphics card. I've got an RTX 1080 on this machine and it's doing okay. It's doing alright. Okay, that's not, you know, kind of the best in the world, but it's doing okay. So here we are at our destination. We are now coming into the Winnatter ferry terminal, and that's where we're going to stop for now. We'll carry on from here in another video. I'm very grateful for you coming along with me in this journey, albeit quite jerky camera work and quite jerky movements, but there we are. We also have a railway here. There's another railway here, and lots of interesting stuff to see here, so do come down here as well. This now turns into the Freetown ferry, which leaves in about 5 minutes or so. We'll come back and we'll do that some other time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this journey. I understand it may be quite jerky and quite graphically mediocre, perhaps is the correct term, I don't know. But you have to understand that this has been around for many, many years. It's constantly being built on and changing, and that's what it's all about. So it's about the entire experience of things, and whatever you want to do here, you can do it. Anything in Second Life. You can fly, you can get a submarine, you can sail, you can drive a car, you can sing, you can DJ. There are clubs all over the place that you can go to. So I hope you've enjoyed this. For now, I have been Chilled Voyager. I've also been Kenich, and I've also been Ted. Take care for now. Goodbye.